Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our week 2 lecture. Once again, I am your instructor, Professor Eldridge. Now, this week, we're going to talk a little bit more about mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene, as you remember, is setting the stage. And this week, we are focusing on the aspects of mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene is a French term for setting the stage, like I just mentioned. A lot of the procedures that are used in film had their beginnings on the stage, so it makes perfect sense that a term like this would still be in usage. So let's begin. What the heck is mise-en-scene anyway? Mise-en-scene is about all of the visual elements that can be placed in the frame and how they all relate to tell the story. These elements include, but are not limited to, composition. When you think about composition, you're looking at shot sizes. Remember, we talked about that before. Shot angles and camera movement. This is all about composition. So composition, it's what is in the frame. So if that little box that you're looking at is the picture, that's the frame. Okay? So whatever is within that frame, all the action that's going on there, that's your composition. Then you have costume. Remember costume? Costume is one of those elements that is also important because it tells you a lot about the character. It tells you sometimes if this is a period piece or not. It also tells you their class, their status, who they are in the realm of the world that has been created. Hair. Hair goes along with costume. A lot of time and energy is put into hair, and it will also give you information about status, rank, monetary information, that kind of thing. It can also tell if the person is from another planet. Think about the recent spate of Star Wars prequels. Queen Amidala, very ornate hair. We knew that she was supposed to be a queen. And then at some point, she had like the little twin hair ponytails or twin buns on either side. That let us know that at that point she was a warrior. So the hair is also showing a change that helps propel the story forward. Makeup, same thing. Special effects makeup, all of that actually helps to finish telling that story. It's setting the scene. Set design. Well, the sets aren't just magically appearing. There are a group of people who actually make sure that the set looks like it's supposed to. If it's a Wild West set, they do location scouting and they look for something where it's an arid landscape or something like that, a desert. If it's supposed to be a futuristic world, they'll create something. They'll employ carpenters, or they may be handy with tools themselves, and they'll actually build a set that looks like it's supposed to look. Acting, of course, that's your actors, and given the period of time, given everything else, they will make sure that they act in a way that allows the audience to understand, okay, this is a person from this period of time versus another period of time, or they will use varying acting techniques to fulfill the character's role. Okay? Blocking. Blocking is where you move the actors. So you're telling them where to walk in the set, where you wanted them to either enter the frame from the left or from the right. You're not going to tell them you enter the frame from the right or the left. You just tell them where they need to sit, where they need to stand, that kind of thing, so that you can catch the best performance from them. Actors, obviously self-explanatory, and then props. You need props in any scene. So you actually have someone that is in control of props. So sometimes in stage, they call them prop mister, prop mistress, or prop master. Same thing in film. There may even be a few other terms as well. Now, there's a little controversy about some of the elements such as acting as the actor and blocking, positioning of the actor on the screen. However, they are part of the visual vocabulary that is filmed, so they have to be included. Each of these elements are important because they help to tell the story. And again, as a filmmaker myself, I know that you cannot complete a film without it. When you're actually starting a film, what ends up happening is you have your script, and your script is the blueprint for the entire film. And so what happens is, even if you're the director and you've written a script yourself, you're not going to make the whole film by yourself. So you need to break this script up into pieces. And you also have to break it up into departments, so to speak. Every crew person gets a copy of the script. And if they don't, all of the department heads get copies of the script. So you have to make sure that hair, makeup, set design, actors, the people who are doing wardrobe, all of these people have a copy of the script, and they know what scene you're doing per what day or what time. So when you're actually breaking down a script, the director has a lot of work to do. He or she has to create a storyboard, which is basically drawings of each scene and where each character is positioned, and also what shot sizes, what shot angles, again, you can't get away from that composition, are going to be used for each particular shot. So you'll actually see, maybe, like for instance, this example that I have here from True Grit, where you have the two actors here. And this shot was storyboarded. This wasn't something like, oh, let's just do this because it might look cool right here. Most filmmakers are going to storyboard so they know what they're doing, because they're pressed for time, and time is money, especially on a set. You cannot imagine how much time you spend on a set and how much money you waste. It's better now that you're not working with actual film and you're working with digital video, but still ridiculous. Okay, so let's continue. So, for example, if you were to watch a Western, in order to sell the fact that you're being transported to a town in the Old West, you have to convince the audience. This is what I'm talking about when you're setting the stage, that mise-en-scene. So, 2013's True Grit. We all have seen a Western or two, so there's a little bit of shorthand that takes place. We expect to see shot compositions where we see establishing shots that encompass the entire scene, low-angle shots that are demonstrating that the hero is larger than life, and in this way we have a subtle commentary about the character that tells us a lot about him, courtesy of the director. You don't have to use so much dialogue if a lot of the elements that you're using to record the scene will tell it for you. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down here. Like this little barn here, I'm moving my cursor so you can see my where I'm pointing here. This little barn where you see Ned Pepper's hideout. Ned Pepper is one of the bad guys in the film, and he's hiding out. So you know that he's not going to be in, hiding out in some nice inn or something like that. He is going to find some kind of low down location where all it is shelter for the night. So you may notice that in addition to everything else, the composition of the scene, in addition to the location itself, as the film continues, you will notice the blocking. For example, here, blocking isn't just the position of the characters within the frame, but also how the characters are positioned next to each other. And I love this particular shot here where the trio are on horseback, lined up directly behind each other. In this last shot, you'll see the hierarchy of the characters and who is the dominant member or who controls the scene. With acting, you always have something where you talk about a particular scene, who owns the beat, who owns that particular scene. Well, in this particular scene, and throughout the whole film, Jeff Bridges' character is the top dog. He is the one that controls most of the scenes. And it's basically him that we're following at this point. So, in first place, you see Jeff Bridges. Second place, you see Matt Damon. And third place, you see Hattie Steinfeld. Even though Hattie has a strong obsession to see Ned Pepper brought to justice for the death of her father, she cannot complete the mission on her own, so she has to go along with the plans of the elder men. Jeff Bridges is older, wiser, and a U.S. Marshal. His age, stature, position, and force of will allows him to lead the manhunt. He is going to do what needs to be done regardless. He needs to bring Ned Pepper in alive, if possible, to prove that he isn't summarily executing people. In fact, that's one of the arguments, that he is too willing to place a bullet in someone in order to bring them to justice. And so he has that kind of taint on him. So he has to make sure that when he brings this really notorious outlaw in, he's brought in alive. And so that's one of his goals, as well as to come back alive and to get money from the state, and also money from Hattie Steinfeld's character, who really wants to see Ned Pepper hang for the murder of her father. Matt Damon wants to get the reward money, status, and accolades that will go along with bringing in a notorious desperado. So, this is just talking a little bit about how all these elements bring in the story. Really goes about selling how these characters do their work. Well, that's it for this week's lecture. Tune in for next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.